Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Jordan and today I am discussing Zora Neale Hurston's Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick. It's a collection of short stories from the Harlem Renaissance. But the foreword is by Tayari Jones, and I'm going to give you guys a synopsis to, encourage you guys to read this book. But really this foreword is going to get you so amped and so hyped to read the book. Like, at least it did for me. So I just want to preface by saying, like, this really should just be put in video form. Tayari Jones should really just read that out and it'll have people reading the book because it was like an amazing forward. And I think it's really like when you're going to a concert, if you go to concerts and you have like the hype man getting the crowd up, like, hey, put your hands up. That's what Tayari Jones really did, at least for me, because I was sitting already like, okay, let's get to it. But let's get to it. What is this? It's a collection of short stories that are black as F. Is really what it is. It's like, it's black. It's like blackity black. And it's cool because in the forward, without giving away too much, Tiari, she like is basically saying how you should read this out loud. Like these words are meant to be heard. And I 110% agree. I did a combination of reading and then some of them I did audiobook. And when I was reading it, at first I would try to read in my head and it doesn't flow as well for me for some reason. But when I would read it out loud or hear it, it would come to life. So what I liked is it really is in chronological order of when Zora wrote these. And I think that's so cool because it really allowed me to see how her writing shaped and changed throughout the years and developed. And that was interesting. And it's funny because, some people are like, the stories progressively get better. I don't know. In some instances, yes, some of my favorite ones were towards the end, which we could talk about a little bit later. But the first like 3 stories, those things was, for me, heavy hitters. Like those were some of my favorite stories. So I find that kind of ironic in that sense, but it also felt, though, different. So it's clearly felt like a different style-ish almost. It's just interesting. I've loved Zora Neale Hurston my entire life. I have not loved her writing my entire life. And I say this and, it might come haunt me one day, but it's crazy because I feel like in my older age, I done rediscovered her and now I'm like fangirling and it's very weird. Like if I was to tell 10-year-old me this or 15-year-old me this, it'd be like, yeah, right. You're just saying that. You're not really vibing with it. You're saying that just cause, you like what she stands for and you like the festivals and you like the fact of all that she did for Eatonville and all of that. But I read Their Eyes Were Watching God and missed out on everything Zora Neale Hurston since then, up until a few years ago. So that's on me. Anyways, let's talk about this book. Some of my faves within the book, and I'm going to say these for those of you who have read, chime on in. I would love to talk about these in more details. I'm not going to give anything to not spoil stuff for other people. But so the book starts off with an opening story, which was actually one of my favorites. And it was, I got my notes here, John Redding Goes to Sea. I also love the conversion of Sam. Now that was like the first one where I was like, ooh, okay, I'm really in there. And that story, it was about class, but also like gender roles and just kind of like peer pressure, or not even peer pressure, but trying to fit in and appease and be like a manly man and be like, ooh, I be doing what I be doing and da 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 da. Knowing deep down at the end of the day, you just want to lay your head down next to your wife. Like, I thought it was a good little play on how impressing other people don't really ever go well. So don't be doing that. Okay, but if I'm talking about my favorite ones, I loved Drenching Light. And that one was actually based in Eatonville, Florida. And that one puts a smile on my face. Even now, I've read it like 2 times already. And that was one where I could picture the dance and I could picture the little girl. I could see the colors, the vibrancy of the story, and it also just touches on the stuff like that us little girls we be having to go through, like these ridiculous societal norms of what it means to be a girl and a lady and all this other stuff. You know, it makes me appreciative of my parents, that they just let me run along, and they didn't really, even though they have those societal norms, they didn't really have it when it came to stuff like that. But it captured the innocence of just being free and being yourself. And I picture, like me talking about it, I'm picturing it in my head. And for those of you who have read the book, you guys know why I'm doing this, I hope, because that's what I picture. I also really liked Sweat. Now Sweat, that one, ooh, child, that was one that I really pictured as well. That one's all gender roles. It's all gender roles and just trifling. That's really what I'll say, trifling. It's kind of like a woman who, it starts off with her doing laundry. And I thought that was another thing why I love Zora Neale Hurston's writing so much, is because I was over there doing the laundry with ma'am. I could see the sweat. I could feel it in all her, like, just wringing that stuff out and getting the stuff together, and like how much like she just working and doing all this work and having to deal with this no for good Negro. But yeah, that's what I mean with like the visual and the scenes and all of that. These characters are like, they come to life, and the banter is like natural. I felt like a lot of these, I'm a visual person, and I felt like a lot of these I wanted to reread because I could imagine setting it up in scene form, like how it would come off if these were like skits or like little shows or vignettes or something. Like, yeah. But my favorite two, if I had to like pick like favorite two, it's hard for me to say. One of them is Under the Bridge, and that one's a later story. And then the other one is, I think it's the Gilded Sixpence. I'll put it on the screen if I said that wrong. But my goodness, like, okay, so the Gilded Sixpence, that was an interesting one where I can't talk about it because it'll spoil for you guys, and some of the fun is reading that story, is figuring how everything came out. But I thought that was so well done, and that's one that I've read a few times since having the book, which I might really get this book. That's so funny that I'm saying this. But yeah, I'll think about it. But the other one, Under the Bridge, that story semi-haunts me. So Under the Bridge was an interesting one where it's like an older man who's like about 60 years old, but he's clear. He's like, no, 58. Like, he literally says that. I ain't 60, I'm 58. But he marries this girl, borderline predatory status. Like, she's like 19. His son's like 22, I think, or something. His son's older than the girl, basically. But those two are closer in age. And it's like this family, but, you know, Buddy's son looked good. His girl looked good. Is she closer to his son in age? And, you know, it's hard out there for a pimp. Who trying to be a pimp? What am I to say? You know, I had hard having empathy or sympathy for old boy. But, yeah. And I say this because it's like, I say all this because the girl really is with him for survival. You know, I would just be getting into the book in real detail, but the girl is basically with him for survival reasons. That's why it makes me uncomfortable. Like, that, the way that was brought up. And I mean, she's 19, right on the cusp, and you friggin' 60. Come on now. But yeah. So I say all this, and those are the stories in my head that like stand out. There's a few others that stand out, but I will say there's a few where I didn't really feel any kind of way of them. That's why this book for me gets 4 stars, because there's some of them that I really loved, and then there's other ones where it was kind of just like, okay. But all in all, overall, the book itself, I loved. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, take with that what you will, because I say all this, and at the same time, I feel like not everybody is going to love the book. So It's like one of those recommendations where you loved it and you liked it, but I could also see someone not vibing with it. One, because reading it in the beginning, if you're not literally reading it out loud, or if you are not listening via audio, or if you don't understand the rhythm and flow and all this other stuff to get into it, it's going to be hard, because that's what makes these characters come to life. Is literally that. It's not full of the characters talking, but I think that's what makes a lot of the punchlines hit, or a lot of the stories really just flow, and for you to hear it back and forth. Like when I'm reading these stories, I'm hearing all the people in the scenes or the different rooms talking to one another and interacting with one another, and that's what makes it like, you know. Yeah, like even with Under the Bridge, Under the Bridge, there's a point where they go out on a boat, and I'm in the boat with them, and I picture like almost like a little canoe boat, which is probably not right, but I'm in that boat, and I'm like seeing that the space isn't even that big between them, and it's like an elephant in the effing room, or an elephant on the damn boat with them, and maybe I'm the elephant just watching, like, y'all gonna address this? Nope, we not. Okay, we gonna talk about a different story. A story when he saved your life when he was a kid. That's cute. Okay. But anyways, I would love to discuss with those of you who have read the book. I know I listed a lot of my favorites. I would love to hear some of your favorites. I know some people really loved Magnolia Flower. I think in my last video when I talked about it, some people talked about that. But anyways, yeah, let's keep the conversation going below. And as always, love and light, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.